All right, here's some big breaking news coming in. Jasprit Bumrah, who suffered a back injury and was rested versus South Africa, likely now to miss the World Cup as his back has sustained a fracture. Medical team conducted scans and have suggested no cricket for minimum of 6 months for him. Sources have said now Shami or Deepak Chahar will be making their way into the squad and this call will be taken by selecting committee. Big blow there coming for Team India right ahead of the World Cup as we see that Bumrah now out of the T20 World Series. Jasprit Bumrah, who suffered a back injury, was rested. He's likely to miss the World Cup now as his back has sustained a fracture. Medical team has conducted scans and have suggested no cricket for a minimum of 6 months for Jasprit Bumrah. In fact, sources have said how now likely Shami or Deepak Chahar will be making their way into the squad. And this will be, a decision on this will be taken by the selection committee. Nikhil Naz joining us live for a little more on that. Nikhil, very tragic. Jasprit Bumrah, one of the finest players for Team India, is now going to be rested for the next 6 months. He will not be participating in the World Cup. How does that affect Team India's prospects?
Well, Nabila, it's a major blow because Jasprit Bumrah is not just the #1 bowler that the Indian team has. In fact, if you were to take a look at world cricket, he'd be probably one of the #1 standout bowlers that you have. An impact performer and just ahead of the T20 World Cup. So that is going to be a big blow for the Indian team. However, the signs were already there. He had been rested just leading up to the T20 World Cup. He'd been out from active cricket for close to 2 months. At that time, speculations were rife that he might be nearing in on a stress fracture, and just to avoid that, that's why he's been rested. When he made a return to the Indian team and his name was announced in that series versus Australia, there were hopes that maybe he's getting back to full fitness and they might ease him into that Australia series, then followed by the South African series, and by the time the World Cup comes along, he'd be completely fit. However, he missed that first game versus Australia, but came on to play the next 2 games and then misses the first game versus South Africa. Now, questions would be asked of the BCCI medical team as to why was he then rushed into playing. Was those 2 games that he played versus the Australian team really responsible for aggravating that injury, or was the BCCI team just hoping against hope and wanted him to get some sort of game time before the T20 World Cup, or they wanted to test waters? Either way, now that the decision is out, he's unlikely to be available for the T20 World Cup. If you're looking at 6 months, then that actually goes past the T20 World Cup. You're looking at a few more crucial matches beyond that, but him being out, it's going to be a major blow. And the problem is made worse by the fact that the backup bowlers that you were looking at, you just mentioned Mohammad Shami's name or Deepak Chahar's name. Deepak Chahar has been along with the team, hasn't got too much game time. Mohammad Shami was expected to get some game time. He was down with COVID and didn't get to play either the Australia series or the South Africa series. Either way, whoever you go in with as a backup would never be close to Jasprit Bumrah, and even if you take that bowler, he's going to be very, very fresh and not really, in the flow of things.
All right, thank you very much for joining us on that. Jasprit Bumrah has now been asked to rest for the next 6 months. Unfortunate for Team India as he will be missing the World Cup.